So you might have heard I was involved in a little incident on Tuesday night out of LaGuardia Airport, flight 2313 from LaGuardia to Minneapolis. And by the way, let me say thanks to Colleen for filling in. And I bring up Colleen not only to thank her, but remember you two, I said that Colleen was going to submit questions. She said that to you two, I guess, yesterday on the show. That
sure did. Has she submitted them yet?
Lex, Holly, look in the camera. She has submitted oh, you can't see it, but she has submitted a list of questions.
Oh, wow. Me. Okay, yeah. We should just go through those.
Mm-hmm. I think I read through them all, and I think within the story, I will answer all of them. So here, let me just tell you what happened from tip to tail. The flight was already delayed a good hour leaving LaGuardia on Tuesday. We were supposed to fly out at around, we were supposed to board around 6:20. As we were getting ready to leave our hotel, here was problem number one. You know, when you go on the Delta app or whatever, you can click on where is my plane, meaning, you know, the plane that you're getting ready to go on. It can tell you where it is. So you can do the math by yourself. We're always solving for X, right, Lex?
Always.
The flight hadn't even left Minneapolis yet. It was originating from Minneapolis. And I did the math, and I'm like, the plane is supposed to land at LaGuardia at 6:20, and it's telling me we're going to board at 6:29. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. But we still weren't getting notified by Delta that we were delayed. So we ended up being, the minute we pulled into LaGuardia, and doesn't this always happen, friends? We quite literally pull up, the Uber pulls up to LaGuardia, and we get the text message from Delta. Sorry, your flight's delayed an hour. Like, well, yeah, I could have told you that 40 minutes ago. So as we're sitting at LaGuardia, then we get another lovely text message. It's delayed another 40 some minutes. So now we're looking at about a 2-hour delay. We get on there finally, and everything seems to be pretty normal, except for the delay, which everyone is mumbling about because of, obviously, the umbrella over every airport is the government shutdown and the trickle-down effects that is having with these. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pause to celebrate them. All of these wonderful folks that work at these airports that are currently not getting a paycheck, but they are still showing up to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Bravo. I'm going to say it several times, this story. There's number one. So we're on the aircraft. We're buckled in. And I'm telling you where I am, and you'll see why in a second. I am in about row 15. And we get buckled in, and it's Colin, myself, and Lisa. We're all in one row. And everything seems to be pretty normal at this point. No, we're delayed, but whatever. And we pull back, and we start to taxi. We start to get in position. And we're not quite lining up for takeoff. You know, when you hear the captain say, flight attendants, we're clear for takeoff for number 4. You know, we're not at that point yet, but we're moving. Well, then we stop. And the stopping lasted for about 20 minutes.
Oof.
And now the frustration, and you see people getting a little antsy and groaning that, oh my God, we're already 2 hours late. And now what the hell's going on?
Did they have the air on?
Yes.
Oh, thank goodness.
So then
it's not getting hot and stinky.
No. So the captain comes on about a half hour after we pull back from the gate with this announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we have stopped. We're doing some routine. There seems to be an issue. We have to do some paperwork. I think it's a maintenance issue, but we have to do some paperwork. I apologize. I'll know more of a timeline in just a little bit. That is not verbatim, but that's pretty close. I know the word paperwork was mentioned, and I verified this with my memory with Colin and Lisa. And So we're sitting there. We're like, paperwork? What's the issue? Like, what the hell's... Now, we thought it was... And I remember the word maintenance or something like a repair. So I thought, oh, God, there's a maintenance issue. But that's common, right? You too? We've all had that. Oh, God, the windshield wiper isn't working. Or whatever.
Yeah, we got to get that one screw from that one guy.
Yeah. Well, then another, what seemed like an eternity, but I would guesstimate another 20 minutes goes by. But I would probably safely another 10 to 15 minutes. And all of a sudden, we start to move. And we are driving. And when I say we, the plane is driving like the dude is driving a station wagon. We are not lining up. We are just driving the plane away from the airport. To which I hear somebody say, well, this isn't good. They are moving us farther and farther away from the airport. And then we stop. And the moment we stop, and this is the video that I posted and I sent to Lex and Holly rather quickly. As we stopped, the plane was started to be surrounded by the Port Authority, cops, black Broncos.
Whoa.
OJ.
Was there a white Bronco there?
Andrew Cuomo?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What?
Oh, hey, Jace, can we give the code real quick for those who want the celebrity name game code?
Absolutely. I was just getting ready to pause at this point. Yes.
Okay,
what's
perfect.
the code today?
So the first name is Steve, and our code for 810 is Martin, Martin. Steve Martin, Martin. Pop that in. You could win $1,000 this week on the MyTalk app.
So we stop, and the plane, I see the cherries. I see the lights of police cars. And then I see more. And I'm seeing it. I'm on the right side of the plane. And then I look, and I'm seeing it, and I'm hearing people. I'm starting to hear worry. I'm starting to hear, oh, my's, and oh, my goodness. And, oh, this isn't good. That phrase I heard a lot. This isn't good. And we are now surrounded. The aircraft is surrounded by officials. Ooh. And they're getting closer and closer. And then they move away. And I'm like, and we're all just kind of wondering, and we're sitting there, and no announcement is being made, which no criticism there. There's a procedure, obviously. If they're not going to tell us anything, I was not frustrated at that point. Well, then the captain comes on after a good amount of time being surrounded by the officials, and he said something to this effect. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the lack of information, but I will tell you right now that the Port Authority and officials will be boarding the aircraft from the rear. I ask that you all remain seated. Once again, federal officials will be boarding the aircraft from the rear. Please remain in your seats.
Oh, my gosh.
There doesn't seem to be any danger to you, but please stay in your seat. Almost verbatim, but that's basically what he said of like, no danger, which that changed a little bit later. So lo and behold, a few minutes later, I saw everybody turn. And as I looked back, there were the officials. There were cops and Port Authority agents in the rear of the plane. The lights had turned on back there, and there were officials by a passenger. The authorities entered the rear of the plane. We were instructed that this would happen. They did it. It looked like they were questioning and talking to one or two passengers. Now, I will pause to say what I know now. That keep in mind, we did not know at that moment. First is everyone, I will say, this plane of people, everyone was very calm. There wasn't panic. There was not hysteria. There was worry, Luckily, there weren't a lot of kids on board. So there was like a baby across from me, but there weren't a lot of children. So as I think about it, I think there was literally just one baby. But everybody was very, very calm, not freaking out, curiously calm, curious but calm. Meaning everyone was looking at what was happening, but no one was like, oh my, no one was screaming or anything. So what I know now that I didn't know at that moment was Colin and Lisa talked to a different group of passengers that I did while I was getting video. And from what they found out from the people back near the people in question, as we were taxiing, allegedly, a gentleman, a guy got out of his seat and started walking and mumbling. Mumbling what I do not know. They do not know, but he started talking and saying things.
Oh.
And I think that alerted the flight crew, which allegedly connected with a bomb threat that had come in.
Oh my gosh.
Solving for X.
Now, keep in mind, again, as I continue, we did not know anything at this point as we were getting ready to deplane. So we grab our stuff and we now back to the timeline. We are now deplaning, which, by the way, can I tell you, as I do my mental inventory, this was so weird. This was, we were all running on adrenaline, but it was really, it stressed me out. As the door opened, there's a stairway and it's lined with officials. It's lined with Port Authority officials and the police. And they were so great. Again, here's my second shout out. They were very helpful in holding our hand, because there was a gap in the stairs, leading us down and getting us to the ground. And we're out in the outside, with all these flashing lights. And it was just weird, guys. It was just worrying. And that's when a little bit, the worrying went up to about a 5 of like, what the heck is going on? And then and there were buses lined up. Some of the buses were full and no one at this point was really telling us anything. And this is where it started to be like, okay, what should we do? And no one was really telling us. So we stood out in the cold for about 10 to 15 minutes. And I looked at one Port Authority, a wonderful cop. I go, do we get in these buses? And he goes, well, these are full. He goes, so they're bringing more. I'm like, okay. But all of us are kind of looking at each other and we start huddling together and talking. And I was hearing from, and this is a shout out here, I was hearing from friends because then I went on Instagram and I thought, okay, I'm going to get on there. And hopefully if I tag Delta or somebody, we can try to get some answers of what is going on. So I went into full reporter mode. I pulled out,
you did.
Yeah.
I went into skills that I used to have. And I was, doing a scene setter of like, here we are. Well, I started to get text messages from my buddy Kyle Potter from Thrifty Traveler and others who were very well sourced. My affiliate in New York, a TV show affiliate. And that is when we started hearing that it was a bomb threat. But again, we were not, understandably. Now, my criticism isn't, I get that, look, it was so early. The Delta crew had no idea, and we shouldn't be told at that moment. But we were hearing everything from the news, which typically happens. But we weren't even being guided into these buses. Like, this is when people started getting a little more irritated. One of Colleen's questions was, the demeanor of folks throughout the process. This is when irritation kind of set in because we weren't really being told anything, not about what had happened that forced us off the plane, but nobody was really guiding us. We're standing on a tarmac, for the love of Yosemite Sam. So we got on the bus, and because we were so far away from the terminal, we took the long bus ride, and then they took us back to LaGuardia, to the Delta terminal. And we just followed each other. There was no associate. There was nobody at the door to tell us what to do. Are we being rebooked? Are we stranded? What's happening? Where's our luggage? Where should we go? Nothing. So we're just all following each other. And then the nervous humor, everyone was like, I hope the people in the front are guiding us well.
You start making jokes. Yeah, it's just easier.
Yeah, absolutely. We were all just nervous laughing of like, follow the leader.
Yeah.
So we walked, and they made us go back through security at LaGuardia. So we get back into a serpentine line to go back, and we're basically the only people there. It's now like we're pushing 9 o'clock. I lost track of my timeline. We're pushing 9:30.
Yeah.
As we're in the serpentine line, and everyone's kind of irritated that once again, no Delta rep was there. And these poor TSA agents, shout out number 3, they're just doing the best they can without getting paid. Yeah. They were so nice to us. And they're like, guys, we have to make you go through this. And we're like, we get it. Some people were frustrated that we had to go back through. I understood why. Girl. Because at that point, I had heard it was a bomb threat.
Yeah. Back you go.
I would make all of us take off our clothes if I were them.
Yeah. Bend over. Oh.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Where's the
So we went back through security. So we all go through. And as we're in the serpentine line, we start getting text messages from Delta. And the one interjecting a little humor was, your flight has now been delayed. And I'm not joking, Lex. I'm not joking. The first text went through, and you know me, Lex. I'm in that line. And now my Jason irritation level is about a 6, which is pretty good considering what we're going through. That text just pissed me right off. I looked at my watch. I go, no blank, Sherlock. What do you think? Thank you. Thank you, Captain Obvious. You think our flight's been delayed?
No, it feels really on time here.
I think we're on time. I think we may get back to Minneapolis tonight.
Woo.
Now, when we come back, how it all wrapped up and how I felt really bad for one specific TSA agent and what happened, how we finally got back to Minneapolis at the end of this experience and what we know now. Flight 2313 from LaGuardia to MSP that was grounded and canceled due to a bomb threat. The New York Post, TMZ, and others, you probably saw it. So we get back to the terminal. And again, I want to stress, other than what I'm hearing from colleagues of mine and my buddies at Thrifty Traveler, the bulk of the 200 and some passengers still had no idea what was happening. I was kind of spreading the word as much as I could. And then as we're in the security line to go back through security once we returned to the terminal, and we got that funny text from Delta, the automated, we apologize, but your flight to Minneapolis has been delayed. And we all kind of laughed in the line. And then we got a second text about a second later that said, your flight is now 866 minutes late. And I'm not joking, some ridiculous amount of time. And it said, you will now be flying out at 7 a.m. Oh. So everybody on this flight, I'll tell you about a guy in a minute, but everybody was remaining relatively calm, but we were all helpful to each other. We were sharing information. We got through security.
Because what else can you do at that point?
What else can you do, Lex? And so we got through security and LaGuardia, the new LaGuardia, Lex Holly, we've been through it together. It's very nice. Like this is a 21st century airport. And we got through this security screening, and there's an area right past it. And everyone was just standing there because, again, it's like 10 o'clock at night now, 10:30 at LaGuardia. We're basically the only people there. And there is one poor TSA agent who, again, is not getting a damn paycheck. And all of the passengers surround her. And everyone sees the crowd. So everyone is going over there and everyone's asking basically the same questions. And this poor, soft-spoken TSA agent And I say soft spoken because now this is where people started to get a little irritated, and I get it because now I'm learning there are missed connections. One family had a giant vacation that was just going to screw up from top to bottom. Mm-hmm. And everyone is trying to listen to this poor woman who's giving what she knows, which, by the way, isn't a lot.
Yeah.
And people are starting to understandably get irritated. They're like, what? I came in late. What? What? I didn't hear you. What? And this. So I just want to say my criticism is never going to be about the federal officials at these airports. Yeah. They were doing the best they could. And my God, the team at LaGuardia, they filled in the gap where the airline really was not overly helpful up until this point. There was no Delta official around. So this one business guy who was really the only out of 200 and some people, the only kind of butthead, was the only Leanne Morgan butthole. He started getting really aggressive with this poor TSA agent in the middle of this circle of angry passengers. So I will award him the flight 2313.
Butthole.
That's right. He's like, ma'am, he goes, you're not really answering our questions. And, where's my luggage? And if I don't want a complimentary hotel, what do I do? And someone before I did said, dude, she's doing the best she can. She's not even Delta. She's a TSA agent. So luckily he backed down, and Colin and Lisa went on to the help desk because we were just told, go to the help desk. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It is at 10 o'clock at night, probably staffed by 2 people.
Oh, and if everyone's going there, what's the idea of how many people are on this?
200, full plane.
So it was a full
flight.
So everyone's now going to the help desk.
Where there are about 2 agents. Colin said that God bless this third that literally was getting ready to go off shift. Oh. And she decided to stay to help her colleagues.
Oh, thank goodness.
Mm-hmm. So this massive line to try to figure out, okay, is our flight canceled? Because so then Colin and Lisa go to handle that. I am waiting to talk to this poor TSA agent. And then a very funny Minneapolitan who gave no blanks. I will call her Amy because I don't know her name, but she was the second piece of humor. She looked at me and she smacked my arm. She was, hey, I know who you are. Get back on Instagram because if anyone can get answers, it's you. And I said, okay. So I went back on it. So the second video that I made in the terminal, if you see a woman with red hair behind me, she was basically my producer at that point. So because I was trying to, we need answers. And she goes, so get back on Instagram. So I said, okay. So that's why if you see me kind of like with this woman, that's who that was. And I was trying to get Delta's attention because nobody was there. So come to find out, our flight was now canceled. We weren't going to be flying out that night. And our luggage was just going to be put on the next flight at 7 a.m. And we could get a hotel if we wanted to. We could get a voucher. But you had to stand in this helpline desk.
You couldn't even get your suitcase?
No, you could, but you had to wait in another line. If you wanted to remove... If you checked baggage, it would just automatically be put on that 7 a.m. flight. And that's the only thing I wanted to know from this sweet, poor, surrounded by angry passengers TSA agent.
Yeah.
And I waited till most people go because Colin and Lisa were handling the help desk. So I touched her arm. I go, first of all, thank you. I go, second of all I want to know is I don't want my luggage. I'll just sleep in my underwear. I said, I don't care. I said, I didn't tell her that, but I'm just like, I go, if I just want to leave my checked baggage, will it just be put on the flight tomorrow? And she goes, yes. I go, thank you. That's all I need to know. Bada boom, bada bing. Peace out. And God bless you for your patience and not slapping half of us.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting a hotel voucher. Because one of Colleen's question is, did we get any sort of compensation? No, we got that and an Uber voucher that didn't work. And we got an audit. Yeah, the Uber. Yeah. And no one's did. We are hearing from various passengers because a lot of us ended up at the same glorious Fairfield Inn motel right by LaGuardia.
Oh.
That had
Did they have a pool?
I asked for a sauna, but they did not. But no, it had pillows that looked like Ritz crackers. But hey, I was just happy to have a bed at that point.
Oh, buttery?
Yeah, I'm just making a little joke. No, very thin pillows. But I was just, I didn't care.
I was thinking about the salt and the butter. No. Okay.
So we got in the Uber and we woke up, got on the flight the next morning at 7 with no delays. But it was just odd. No one at Delta, and this was one of Colleen's questions that she submitted, was, did anybody hear anything official other than what we were hearing? No.
We should have wrote our questions down, Holly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So nobody came around, huh?
No, nobody. And I understand that it's probably a federal investigation. I mean, we're not going to hear.
Yeah.
We heard everything from the news. WNYW. I was hearing things from Thrifty Traveler. I was hearing from my sources at our sister station that it was a bomb threat. We heard all of that from the news. Obviously, Delta's not going to tell us that. They have a procedure, and I respect that. There's no criticism there. What I will say is, and they're doing the best they can, there's massive grace for all involved. But I will tell you, there was a river of frustration by even the next morning, other than an automated, PR written, very generic apology email. There was never anything from the flight the next day. No one really said anything of like, hey, welcome aboard. Sorry about nothing. It was very odd. That's just my
so
mild.
There was no acknowledge of it the next morning.
No.
Interesting.
Other than the automated apology email, it just seemed like that this was a pretty extraordinary event that was out of Delta's control, and they kept us safe. Let me lead with that.
Oh, yeah.
The flight crew was amazing. What I was hearing from my fellow passengers, our light critique and fair critique was we just didn't hear a lot of guidance. And we then didn't hear anything the next morning from Delta. And it just seemed, I talked about 4 or 5 people, because a couple people either listened to our show, knew who I was. And everyone was a little kind of like a dog that cocks his head, kind of like, is this odd? Like, no one's really talking to us. No announcement of like, hey, 2313, sorry about your crazy ass night. I made a joke because then we got on the plane and all of us were...
There's a whole new crew, right?
There's a whole new crew. And all of
okay.
us... And I said, this one woman came up to me and she goes, was this weird? I go, yeah. I go, look, I didn't expect Ricardo Montalban and Tattoo to be welcoming us back at MSP. Would I have liked him outside the gate at MSP to welcome us back after a crazy ass night? Sure, I would have loved to have seen Ricardo Montalban. But
yeah, that'd be something.
It just fell a little short for what we had all kind of gone through.
Yeah.
But yeah, wild. And I'll end with this. I texted this to Holly and Alexis. It really didn't hit me. We were all running on adrenaline, and my husband and Lisa and I shared this. It didn't freak me out until I laid in bed that night and I realized what could have happened. And then it scared me to death. I kind of thought about the what ifs. Like, what if the plane had taken off? What if it was really a threat? I only slept a couple hours, but it freaked me out, I have to say. And Lex, you've been with me a lot. I wasn't a great flyer for many years, and it made me a little uncomfortable when I thought about it that night. I was running on adrenaline and the stress of just trying to get home and stuff, but when I thought about what was really occurring or what could have occurred, or the what ifs, I let my mind wander as it does when you're laying in bed, trying to sleep. So, yeah. Anyway.
What an adventure.
Yeah. Again, I'll end, thanks to everybody. These federal folks aren't getting paid. You kept us safe. And to the flight crew on our plane, professional, wonderful, took good care of us.